Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Ashley Vaquero with the Office of Charter Schools. We are streaming live, and I'm going to take really quick attendance just to establish our quorum. Bruce Friend.
Present.
Hilda Parlay.
Present.
Shelley Shope.
Present.
Stephen Gay.
Present.
Bart Danielson.
Present.
John Eldridge.
Here.
Eric Sanchez.
Present.
Alex Quigley. Alex Granados. Dave Machado. Rita Hare. Todd Godby. Okay, we do have a quorum, so we can get started. Chair Friend.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Ms. Picaro, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the May 31st. I'm ahead of my time here. May 31st special meeting of the Charter School Review Board. If you would, please join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As a reminder, the Charter School Review Board works to ensure the existence of high-quality charter schools in North Carolina. Board members are reminded that it is our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of the Review Board. Does any member of the Review Board know of any conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before us at this meeting? If so, please state them for the record. If during the course of the meeting you become aware of an actual or apparent conflict of interest, please bring that matter to the attention of the chair. It'll be then your duty to abstain from participating in discussion on the matter and from voting on the matter. We have one item on our agenda today. It is to review and potentially approve the new charter school agreement in the state of North Carolina. May I get a motion to approve today's agenda?
Mr. Chair, Hilda Parlay moves that we approve the agenda for today.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second, Stephen Gay.
Thank you, Mr. Gay. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll just do we don't need to do a roll call vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. So with that, our agenda item today is, as you probably recall, for those that have been on the review board for a while, each year we take a look at the charter school agreement, make what we might deem as improvements and necessary edits to the agreement. The proposed new agreement was provided to us in e-board and in email prior to today's meeting, so hopefully you've had a chance to look at that. This is the first agreement, I believe, that we actually have underneath the Charter School Review Board. So as you probably saw in the agreement, a lot of the changes are really just a matter of changing nomenclature. But with that, Ashley, I'm going to hand it back over to you. And if you would like to walk the board members through the proposed changes to the Charter School agreement.
Yep, absolutely. So we have just a little background. We have worked with your board leadership. We've worked with the state board legal team, and with your attorney Stephen Walker has reviewed this as well. So, and in addition, this board has had it, previously. If you've sent any questions or edits or revisions, those have been responded to. But now I'm going to kind of go through the main changes. So one of the kind of overarching things you will see in this charter agreement is we had to take into account that there is obviously the authorizing board is now your board, but in addition, there's an appeal right for the state board. So you can see in the kind of the preamble at top that depending on whether this charter agreement is granted, most will probably be granted through your board. But if it's granted on appeal, then it would be coming, we would select essentially the state board as the one that is entering and executing this agreement. So we had to take that into account, and that's why you'll see sometimes a reference to state board or charter board. This first page is essentially just laying out the fact that everything that takes place, whether it's through a renewal or through a, like it's for a first charter agreement, like a new school, is pursuant to, any applicable state board rules, policies, any of the practices and procedures of your board and the Office of Charter Schools. So in a lot of this agreement, we've kind of encompassed all three entities, just because now we have such a kind of a different structure, and to really make sure that we are covering all of our bases. So that's what you'll see in this first page. And again, it's the application, right? It's either been approved or renewed pursuant to the requirements of this charter and the Charter School Act, which is general statute. We've also we have revised some of the wording to better align with statute. So all of you are familiar with amendments, which is essentially a change in an application. The wording that is actually used in statute is material revision. So in some of these places, we've just added that language so that it aligns and mirrors the statute. There have been no changes to any requirements regarding conflict of interest or the governing board. We've just updated some grammatical changes. And you can see here at the top for A and B, we've added the fact that a nonprofit cannot enter into or terminate an agreement for management services without approval of the charter board or the state board. Again, you are usually the ones who are the board that is approving amendments or revisions, which would include a management agreement. But because that could happen on appeal, we've got everybody on here. Compliance with other laws, we've simply added your board and DPI to cover this section, that no one is assuming the duty to oversee the operations except as may otherwise be provided by law. For enrollment, this is section 7. We have revised quite a bit of this, and this is because, as you know, the enrollment statutes have changed significantly. So 7.2 was previously a summary of the admissions law. We have just completely mirrored. We've essentially taken the text exactly as it exists in statute and put it in the charter agreement. So there's no room for any type of misunderstanding. For 7.4, this section has been completely revised because now, as you know, there's no longer the 30% max, and we've kind of just outlined all of the different information a charter school would need to know pursuant to statute regarding expansion and enrollment allowances. All right, I'm going to stop just right there and before I go on and see if there's any questions for this first section. Okay.
Can I, is this, I sent you questions, you answered them. Is this where I would push back on your answer on the thing, or would that be later?
Yeah, if it's something that I just covered, it might be easier to do it now.
So under section 1.3, I had questioned the last sentence, the SBE and SCRB shall make renewal decisions consistent with state law, SBE policies, and the terms of this agreement. Mm-hmm. And I had questioned why we didn't reference CSRB policy and procedure like we have done above. And your answer was that we don't currently have any of those, but I feel like that if we're looking to this as now this body as it is, I think that it would be reasonable to assume that we will at some point, and that making it clear that we're now the body that makes these decisions, maybe that including a line here, even if we don't currently have policies or procedures, that it triggers that is the intent of how we will do renewals and make decisions in the future.
That makes perfect sense to me. So you're thinking maybe somewhere at that last sentence on 1.3, the state board and the charter board shall make renewal decisions consistent with state law, state board policies, and the terms of this agreement, perhaps adding state board policies, comma, CSRB policies?
Correct. Or CSRB policies and procedures is the way we've said it above. But I think that we need to include this body's policies and procedures here, because I think that's where we're headed.
Okay.
I've got a suggestion on that, Ashley, just to make it maybe cleaner.
Yeah.
I think if we just took out the word SBE before policies and just made it say consistent with state law policies, I would also put comma rules, comma, and the terms of this agreement.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because part of the renewal, there is a renewal rule dealing with the self-study and things like that. So I would, I think Mr. Godby's got a good point there. So I think if we just take out SBE and just say consistent with state law policies, rules, and the terms of this agreement.
I think that's a great suggestion.
And I think then, it's whatever policy applies, whatever rule applies. And I think that makes it pretty clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good suggestion. Okay. The state board shall make, and CSRB shall make renewal decisions consistent with state law, comma, policies, comma, rules, and the terms of this agreement. Okay.
Yeah,
I think
that accomplishes it. Thanks, Stephen.
Okay.
I think, I don't know how y'all want to do this, Ashley, just trying to follow procedure. If you want to, after there's some discussion, have a motion to that effect, or if you want to hold off and wait until all the ones that everybody might want, the changes like that, and then do it all as one motion. Whichever way the chair would like to handle.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. Let's, not knowing if there are other suggestions for changes, why don't we just wait and do one full motion at the end for any edits that we would like to make before we vote on the whole document.
Okay, great. Okay, so moving on, we have not changed anything in regards to financial and compliance warnings, children with special needs. Reports, we've just added your board and or our office, just that a charter school needs to submit any reports that are required. For notifications, this section has not changed in terms of the type of notifications. Previously, it just stated state board every time. In practice, to be honest, usually these notifications come to our office. So just to kind of cover all of our bases, we now have our office, the charter board, and state board. And in practice, if they continue to come to our office, we always, of course, notify the appropriate entity and or division within DPI that might need to know. But we've added everyone. For records, again, we've added state board, your board, and DPI and their agents with regards to having the right to see records, reports, et cetera, relating to the public charter school. We've just updated the law for the public records law and the fact that it's effective upon final approval of the charter application. So once the school actually starts operating. No changes to insurance, no changes to health, safety, wellness. Facilities, we've just updated this to make it aligned with what is required by rule regarding amendments to relocations. So making it very clear that, a per administrative code and statute, a school cannot relocate without prior approval. And so this just lays out the fact that any proposed change needs to be, our office and your board and state board need to be notified, that the requested relocation needs to come to our office, and then that is approved either by our office or by your board. And that, again, is laid out in rule that we've had for a long time. Previously, it was the amendment statute where a relocation under 5 miles can be approved by our office, but if it's over 5 miles, it must be approved by your board. So we've added both of those. For licensed employees, we've just updated the rules. There have been a lot of legal changes regarding, teachers whose license are revoked or one that engages in the physical or sexual abuse of a child. So that those legal references have been updated. We've also added to 16.3 that regarding the total number of teachers who hold valid licenses. Of course, it needs to be at least 50% for a charter school. And we've just added during the annual audit process because that is how it is now monitored. We have, fees. We did have to add a kind of a little preamble to this because now, as you know, statute does allow fees under very specific circumstances related to foreign exchange students or students that are domiciled outside of North Carolina. So we've just added a little except where allowed by law preamble. So it takes that into account. And we've also linked the legal reference. And then in terms of agreeing to indemnify and hold harmless, it used to just say SBE and DPI. And of course, now we've added your board to this. And also the fact that your board does not, that no officer, employee, agent, or subcontractor of the nonprofit who holds this charter is an officer, employee, or agent of your board. For student discipline, we have not changed anything here. The law has not changed, and that all remains the same. Same with instruction, criminal background checks, open meetings. Assignments is, again, this is just adding your board and the state board on appeal, that there could be an assignment to another entity. And then for adequate performance, it just states that a school shall be subject to consequences for failing to meet the statutory requirements. This is in relation to adequate academic performance. For termination of the charter, we've added the language that your board may terminate a charter or on appeal the state board. For these ones, these sections 26 all deals with charter school closures, and we've just added your board to the language regarding charter school closures and what's the rights that this board and that a school has under those circumstances. For section 27, material revisions to charter application, again, this is also known as an amendment, and we've actually included that here, that any proposed material revision, also known as an amendment, must come through our office. It's governed by administrative code and statute, and that our office will assist. Previously, we had the entire rule regarding amendments just laid out here. To make it a bit cleaner, we took that out, and we've just referenced the fact that a nonprofit needs to contact our office because they will need to contact our office, and then our office can walk them through the process. And this takes into account the fact that material revisions and the rule often changes based on statutory changes. So now we can just, we don't have to worry about updating the charter agreement every time that changes. Oversight and intervention, it's basically giving OCS and any relevant divisions within DPI. It just makes it clear that we may conduct announced or unannounced site visits at a charter school, and that school officials are required to cooperate. We've added your board to the fact that you are in no way responsible for financial support other than the funding that's provided by state law, of course, for schools. We've changed the notice to our email address. There used to be a fax machine. I'm pretty sure there's no fax machine in DPI, and if there is, nobody is using it. And again, non-endorsement, added your board. And then finally, there is a section regarding the fact that no officers, employee, agents, or subcontractors of the school are considered the same of either DPI, OCS, your board, or the state board. So again, we're covering all of our bases and adding pretty much everyone. And that is it. The end here, of course, will change to 2024. And then each year as needed, we revise the year, of course. The next steps for this is to for your board to discuss and hopefully approve. We have it on the state board agenda next week for their board to also hear the agreement, and then we will need to turn around very quickly and get these out to our renewal schools that you've already voted on, and then the schools that will receive charter agreements to open this fall. So I will take any questions now if there's any other questions.
Thank you, Ashley. Board members, any additional thoughts or questions about the agreement and the proposed changes?
Mr. Chair, this is Dave Machado. Great work, Ashley, and on your team. Is this going to be done action on first read next week for state board, or are they going to vote on it the following month?
That's a great question. I just actually thought about that while I was speaking, and it will need to be action on first read because the charter agreements expire on the 30th. So I'll have to check their agenda, and if not, make sure that it's on their action on first reading.
And I appreciate the comment that Todd made earlier on that first section about making that change in Stephen's recommendation. I do have concern. I don't know if it's a concern. I don't know if we can do anything about it, but we reference CSRB and then state board multiple times, almost like state board can make this rule or CSRB can make this rule. I have to assume that that state law, that's what we're following, and the review board would pass the policy, and then the state board would, I don't know, I don't want to use the word okay it, but I'm a little concerned that they're together a lot, but I'm assuming the reason it's that way is because they serve as the appellate board, and that's why we have to keep mentioning them.
I can kind of answer that for you, Dave. That is part of it, is that appeals go to the state board, and so since they have that appellate thing, they're part of it. And then the statute also, you know, even though since there is that appellate thing, the state board is the authorizer, even though the review board makes the decisions unless they're appealed. So I think that they are involved in it in that way, that they are under the statute the authorizer.
Great. Thank you, Stephen.
Stephen, Hilda, say that again. They are still considered the authorizer?
Yeah, unless I have completely thinking about the wrong thing, that the state board is still considered the authorizer because of that appellate jurisdiction. So they have the final say on an appeal, and so they're considered the authorizer under the statute. And so that's why you would see a lot of times SBE and CSRB, because if the CSRB approves or denies and there's no appeal, then then that decision's final. So then in that sense, in a de facto way, the CSRB would be the authorizer, but under the statute, it says that the state board is the authorizer because of that appellate function that they have.
Well, I can understand that, but all right, thanks.
Any other questions regarding the agreement? So we do have we had discussion about changing the last sentence in section 1.3. I believe that the change being discussed was for that sentence to read as follows: the SBE and CSRB shall make renewal decisions consistent with state law, policies, and the terms of this agreement. If I'm correct about that, would anyone like to make a motion that we?
And we added the word rules. So it would be, yeah, state law, comma, policies, comma, rules, and the terms of this agreement.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and make a motion. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we edit that last sentence in section 1.3.
Hilda Parlay seconds.
Okay, we have a motion and a
The motion.
second. Any discussion on that particular item? Okay, hearing none. Ashley, why don't we just go ahead and do it in roll call vote, make sure everyone's voice is heard on this.
All right. Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Hilda Parlay,
Approves.
Shelley Shope,
Aye.
Stephen Gay,
Aye.
Bart Danielson,
Aye.
John Eldridge.
Aye.
Eric Sanchez,
Aye.
Alex Quigley,
Aye.
Dave Machado,
Aye.
Todd Godby.
Aye.
All right, so we've added that. I will update the materials and before I send that to the state board.
Okay. Hearing that there were no other recommended changes other than the one we just approved, would anyone like to make a motion regarding approval of the revisions to the charter agreement?
Mr. Chair, this is John Eldridge. I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the edits to the charter agreement.
Thank you, John. Can I get a second?
Todd Godby will second.
Thank you, Todd. Any discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the revisions to the charter school agreement. Ashley, let's do a roll call vote.
Sure. Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Hilda Parlay,
Approves.
Shelley Shope,
Aye.
Stephen Gay,
Aye.
Bart Danielson,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Eric Sanchez,
Aye.
Alex Quigley,
Aye.
Dave Machado,
Aye.
and Todd Godby.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Hopefully it will go smoothly next week at state board, and then Jenna and the renewal team will get out the new agreements to all of our renewal schools for this year. And then we will see you guys for your regular meeting. Remember, it's a Tuesday meeting, so that's June 11th. Also remote, as the state board room is finishing up their renovations. And it's quite a full agenda. I will send out a draft to you next week, but lots of amendments and four remote academy applications that you're here from. And then we have, we are now down to 2 ready to open schools. Previously you had 3, and Agape has delayed. So they've moved into our 2025 cohort, which I think is now close to maybe 18, we're getting closer to 20 schools for that cohort. So you will hear from the final 2, ALA Monroe and Riverside Leadership Academy, and vote on their ready to open status. So that's all coming up June 11th, and I will be in touch next week with more materials and information for you. And as always, reach out if you need anything.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Can I get a second?
Hilda Parlay seconds.
All right, we're good to go. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the 11th.
Thanks.
Thank you.